Hey there, I wanted to give you a quick overview of SEO Press because there are a few features in SEO Press that we designed into the Caldera theme, and you might have already noticed one of them. So this is the SEO plugin that we like to run on all of our sites. You do not have to run this. It's really easy to just use Yoast or Rank Math or any of the other SEO plugins that you like, though I wouldn't recommend any outside of those three, and my favorite by far is SEO Press. So first, they do have a import feature. If you're coming from any of those other SEO plugins, you can import all of your existing settings. If you do that, it's here under Tools, and you do Import. It also prompts you when you install the plugin. It asks which SEO plugin you're coming from, and they search your database and look for the old SEO plugins files, and they do the import automatically, which is pretty dang cool. So here, you can import from all of these different plugins. Really cool. So once you've done that, these are the main features that you need to come in to do to set up SEO Press. Titles and metas, like any SEO plugin, you're going to set up how your titles are made on your site-wide. For the site title, for the homepage, I like to just write in a custom title, but you can also do it this way. So for me, I would put my main specialty, main location, so Portland wedding photographer. I also like to put the brand first, so it'd be Dylan M. Howell and a colon, something like that. The reason I do this formatting is Google typically ends up rewriting it to this anyways, but you can try different separators, and you'll notice my brand is called Dylan M. Howell Photography, but I didn't include Dylan M. Howell Photography in this homepage title because I already have photographer in the main term, but you can. There's not a rule there. This is just generally what I found works best for me. Meta description, you can just write a custom meta description for your homepage. If you get the pro version of SEO Press, which I do run on my site, you can use AI to custom write your meta descriptions. It's kind of cool. It looks at the page content and writes a meta description for you. Post types. So this is going to be for all of your posts. I like post title, a separator, and then I take out this site title, depending on what my site title is, but I just write Dylan Howell to keep it nice. I just want the brand there. So on all of your blog posts, by default, it's going to say the blog post title, and then go in and have your name. If the title is becoming too long on any individual blog post, you can just write a custom title that is just the title that you want. Same with the meta description. Post excerpt is great because in WordPress, off onto the right on the post settings, you're going to be able to write an excerpt there. That is used by our theme whenever we have a carousel of blog posts where it's just showing the featured image and the title. You can choose to show or hide that excerpt. And so if you write the excerpt in with the theme and use it for the meta description, you only have to write it once. It's really nice. Everything else here is great. You can display the date that you have published the post in search results, or try to prompt that by including that publish time in. That's great. And then this post thumbnail in Google's custom search results, be warned, that's not actual Google results. So that's not going to make the image show up in search results. There's no real way to prompt that other than having images on your site. Pages, I set it up the exact same way as posts. So I will just copy that, and we'll keep that nice and we're also going to put the publish date there. Cloud library, we don't care about hiding this. This is just the SEO settings box, but what we want is to make sure that these are no indexed. Cloud library, or you might see any other sort of post type that's not outside of your pages and posts, you very much likely do not want to have them indexed. So click do not index. All right, we're good for that set. Archives, this is the same thing. Cloud library archives, we do not want to index those. Author archives, we do not want to index those. Date archives, do not index. Search archives, do not index. And 404s, obviously, they won't be indexed. Okay, actually, let's go back. Sorry, got ahead of myself. Taxonomies. Categories, we do not want to index those in most cases. You can check in your Search Console And if you have the standard WordPress category structure, look in the performance report for any URLs that include the word category and see if you're actually driving traffic with your current category archive pages. It's highly likely that you are not. On 99% of photography sites I look at, we do not want to index our category archives, so we hit do not index. Same with the posts. Almost in every photography site I've ever come across, we do not recommend indexing the tags. Sorry, not posts, tags. All right, collections, same with that. This is part of the Cadence Cloud. You might not see this on your site. This might just be on ours. Do not want any of these Cadence Cloud keywords, categories, or tags. Okay, advanced. This is for all pages. We do not want to change any of those. This is where you can do things like not have the images indexed, not have any cache on your site, not have any featured snippets shown, not have a custom site search box. So don't do any of that. I do like to indicate paginated content to Google. So that's adding important links on archive pages. If you have all of your archived paginated pages indexed, you can choose to click no index on page archives. I do actually like this setting. And then no index on attachment pages. You shouldn't have to do this because they are going to be redirected to the actual page that they are attached to. If you have a problem with like thousands of image attachments indexed in the search results, there was a Yoast bug a few years back that caused this. This is one way to solve it, but most sites do not need that. All right, we can save all of that. We've done titles and metas. Sitemap. Sitemaps are really important, and here is the link to your sitemap. They change from the generic WordPress sitemap.xml, and they go plural, so sitemaps.xml, but either of those will work because the old one will redirect. So you just can copy this link to put this into your Google Search Console so you can give them your sitemap. You need to enable it here. You can also add images with the XML image sitemap. Most photography sites do not need an author sitemap. And then I like to enable the HTML sitemap. And you might have noticed on the Caldera site in the footer, I have a link to the HTML sitemap. And you can just call this sitemap in your footer, however you'd like. And this is kind of an SEO tip that I've used for many years. If you have a hard time getting your blog posts indexed, or if you just kind of want to give more link equity, as it would be called, to all of your other individual blog posts, this is a quick way to link from your sitemap on every page to the sitemap that includes a link to every blog post on your site. So this is pretty cool. It has a link to every page and every post on your entire site. They have controls to control which pages and posts are actually included in the sitemap. There are a ton of controls for that. We can go over those really quick, but this is just the basic HTML sitemap. You do this by creating a page, which I like to call sitemap, and it's going to be in your demo content, and it just has a short code. We can look at that here. Oh, it's a block. They've made a block. So now there's an HTML sitemap block from SEO Press, which is pretty cool. All right, so that's enabled. This is what's going to be included in your XML sitemap. So posts and pages, we don't need to include anything else. Taxonomies, I'm actually not going to include categories and tags. We don't want those, because we don't want them indexed, we also don't want them in the sitemap. And then HTML sitemap, here's the short code, or they have the new block. Here you can make sure that pages are included. Here you can make sure that pages or posts are not included. The way to find these post or page IDs is if you go to a page on your site and you hit edit, you're going to see where this is post 9. So here I would just type in the word 9 and that post would not show up in that sitemap. Okay, these are just for the HTML sitemap. So you can disable the publication date. You can disable the archive pages, but that's pretty straightforward. All right, social networks. This is just for your knowledge graph. This is going to add these to your schema. So you can do a person or organization. Most people are going to have an organization for their business. You can call it, I would just put my business name in here, upload your logo, phone number, any sort of contact information that you have, all of the social media accounts for your business. Here's where you do your Facebook Open Graph tags. So a default image when your site is shared on Facebook. We don't need, I'm not going to do that. You can actually do a Facebook page ID and create a Facebook app ID by creating an app for your company. You can go through those steps, get those IDs, put them in here. Same with Twitter. You can enable a Twitter card, which is just a share image for Twitter. Definitely do the large Twitter card. I'll save that. Analytics. This is just, they have a lot of analytics options built into SEO Press. You can use this to set up your Google Analytics. So if you have your new GA4 tracking ID, you just put that in right here. You can enable Google Analytics. You can check out all these different settings. All right. Medamo, Clarity, those are both competitors to Google Analytics. Advanced settings, this is just like cool stuff to use custom dimensions. If you have the analytics set up, you can have like authors tracked. So this isn't useful for most photographers, but you could have the names of all your authors and you could track them so you could see which content is doing best. You can do this with categories and post types. So these are two ways. Maybe if you're an elopement and a wedding photographer and you want to see like what's driving more traffic or how that traffic is doing on Google Analytics, you could compare those two categories and how people interact with your site by just adding those to a custom dimension. It's pretty cool. So if I put custom dimension 1, it's going to put the category of the content that people are looking at in custom dimension 1 for Google Analytics. Pretty cool stuff. This is getting pretty advanced in the weeds. You can add a cookie bar for GDPR, custom tracking, so Hotjar, Facebook Pixel, all that stuff you can add in here. Pretty cool that it does that. Instant indexing. This is super fun, but pretty, I guess, unproven. You can do Google here. You need to, I believe, get a Google indexing API key. You paste your key file in here. When you've done that, you can add URLs to this and hit submit to Google and Bing, and it's going to instantly submit them for indexing. It seems to work, but typically photographers aren't publishing and so much content that they need to be doing this kind of indexing. And it's kind of bending the rules. That indexing was actually created for like job boards and pages that change very often, or large publishers. Most photographers are only posting a new piece of content like once a week, every few weeks, things like that. So you can just go through Search Console and request indexing on those manually. All right, under advanced, we'll just go through this really fast. Redirect attachment pages to post parent. We were talking about this earlier. This is for the individual image files, and you do want those to redirect directly to the page that they are attached to. You don't want it to redirect to the file URL typically. You can clean up your file names. That's actually probably pretty great if you haven't used really strict file naming practices in the past. This will just make it so that there aren't any weird characters and that there's no spaces in your image files. I don't like to do any of this auto alt text or auto image titles. I don't think it really works that well typically, but if you have a very specific setup for how you've tagged your images and they're all named very properly, you could do that. I don't like image captions, and I don't really use image descriptions. All right. Here you can like remove category from your category URL. I only prefer doing this if I'm using my categories for an actual SEO strategy. So on some sites, you might actually try to rank your category pages. Maybe you've built a custom category archive template and you're really making great content for those category pages. Then you worry about the URL of those category pages. This is actually a cool setting. I think it's enabled by default, but there's these reply links where people can like reply to comments. I like to remove those. WordPress has been adding a no refer link to any links coming out of your blog content. I just remove that because I don't really care to add that. Removing the WordPress generator tag. This is just like a tiny snippet in the HTML that tells people what version of WordPress you're using on your site. And I just don't care to include that either. These entry post classes, it's like always causing a structured data issue for Google. And so just removing them is the best way to go. Yeah, pretty much you can go through these and kind of like, they're really in the weeds as well. I like to remove the short link. I like to remove the live writer tag. I like to remove the RSD meta tag. I remove embed links. I remove this pingback header. Pingbacks are like when you link to a site, it tries to tell every site that you've linked to them, and it slows down your site and is kind of a mess. The Powered by WordPress header, get rid of that. And then if you need to verify your site for Google, Bing, Pinterest, or Yandex, you can do so here. So we pretty much went through all of the options inside of SEO Press. I hope that was a quick, helpful overview. I think one more setting that I don't think I found. Let's find it here. But anyways, you can enable this universal SEO meta box. And what that is this little purple box, and you can move it around and have it be wherever. But this means you don't have to go in to actually edit your site or edit your page or post in order to edit your SEO information. So you can always just click on this nice purple box and it brings up the title, meta, all that stuff, and you can edit from there. It's kind of handy when you're just going through your site, browsing around, and you're like, you know what? I'd really want to change the SEO title for this family session. You can just quickly do that here and start writing a new title. I like it. It's a nice workflow for me. It's out of the way. And I never loved having to like go in to edit the post, and then like Yoast was always at the very bottom and you'd have to scroll down to get to your meta box for your SEO. So I like the little purple universal box. That's pretty much it. I hope you like SEO Press. If you have any questions, definitely post in the group and we would be happy to help.